Hey everybody, we are live, Endexx Live. I'm Brad. I'll be hosting our session today, talking with Todd. As you can see, I'm live from my living room, so I'm not in the office, and we don't think that this is going to fool anybody that it's not. But we want to thank you for joining us. Wishing everybody a happy holiday. Happy Thanksgiving yesterday, and we're going to try to keep this format down to 30 minutes this time or less. Try to keep it brief. Ask some of the top questions that have been sent to me from other shareholders and ambassadors. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to Todd, our CEO of Endexx, and bring him on.
All right. Thanks, Brad. Good to see everybody.
So Todd, as I said, we're going to try to keep things brief today and kind of go through some of the top recent events, reports, things that have come up, and updates. So thank you for joining us for that. Let's dive right in if you're ready.
Sure. So it's been a few weeks, maybe a couple months since we last did our update. We endeavored in many things that we haven't done in a couple years because of COVID. We attended our first trade shows for products. We were re-engaging with buyers from mass retail clients, convenience, distributors, all the different types of things that make the business super exciting and vital to the success of companies like ours and other companies in the industry. Second thing we did is we went out and we did multiple different live performances by me to the investment community. So both on virtual and in person, I think I did 5 different shows where you have a direct contact with family offices, large private investors, accredited investors, as well. Some of those shows had access to everyday investors. So in Vegas, in California, Arizona, nationally, we did a couple virtual performances, and it really started to get some momentum and buzz going again about the company, us talking about how we fit into the industry and some of the things that we have planned for 2022 and beyond. So that was for me, that was just kind of a rejuvenation of getting the word out, letting people know about Endexx, where we've been, where we came from, and where we're going in the future.
Yeah, I understand that the trade show was a big success, considering there hadn't been one in a while. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was in Philadelphia. The show was so big last time in Baltimore that they had to expand to a bigger venue. At the same time, COVID. So for the next 5 years in that particular conference, it's in Philadelphia. It was big, and there were a lot of people there. Not as many as there normally is, but there was probably 80% of the normal foot traffic. But people were so relieved to be out and doing something and engaging again, and getting out there and doing normal business. So for me, and what I saw, was very exciting.
Excellent. And one other thing, so we're moving quickly, so that's great. The trade shows. By the way, I was at the financial conference. I thought you did an excellent presentation. What was exciting for me, Todd, was to meet some of the larger investors in the company I had never met before, and to talk to a couple of them in particular that have funded the company in the past, and to see them see your presentation and have the excitement that they did about the future. So that was great. I just want to mention that any of the shareholders, if you ever get a chance to attend one of these, I highly recommend it. You get a chance to interact directly with Todd, see the presentation, talk to other shareholders as well. So it highly recommended to go to these if you get a chance to. Todd, can you tell us also about another big PR that came out, the 1,000 FDM stores? Can you tell us and expand upon about that?
Right. So back in the summertime, after we launched Blesswell, there was a lot of buzz in the market, and we had looked out, and I had mentioned this before, we were looking out to May and June next year of the first potential even access point to get into a major retail store with the brand. And because it was going so well and the excitement was there and the brand was starting to move through the market nicely, one of the mass retail companies came to us and said, hey, we would really like to get you on shelf in January. I said, great, we can do that, no problem. Then they called us back 2 weeks later and said, we're doing a cut-in. We want you in September. So I knew that was a little bit aggressive, and we started prepping up for that. We got everything positioned, and then they had to go through a due diligence process, and everything has to comply to Prop 65 because a lot of their their retail stores are in California. So we went through this whole due diligence platform that extended the thing out for 4 weeks. They had a tentative date to start November 12th, and now they've pushed it out to December 19th. So we've already shipped product. The purchase order is fulfilled. It's in warehouse. It's getting ready to go on shelf in their store. It'll be an end cap position. So right when you walk in the store and you see skin products, you'll see the Blesswell brand sitting there. And it's as good as you can position in a retail store that gets lots of traffic. So in this case, it's about 1,000 stores. That gave us a nice little bump in the FDM side of the equation. And that will carry some momentum where there's potential to expand out to an additional 7,000 to 8,000 stores in 2022 with that one retailer.
So we're when we say major FDM, we're talking the level of a Rite Aid, a CVS, or a Walgreens, and that level.
Correct.
Many stores.
Yeah, very, very large, a Fortune 50 company.
Okay. And we'll be able to release the name and more specific information in the.
Yeah, we're going to reserve that excitement for a big press release and a big product launch and a brand drop and all that. So you don't want to just keep blowing it out just so our shareholders are satisfied. You want to market into the brand, the product release, and that's where we get the benefit as the shareholders as to what's going on from the Wall Street standpoint.
Oh, great. And that's a great segue talking about the FDM stores. Let's talk about Walgreens, where we're already successfully having products for years in Walgreens. Maybe you can tell us about the current store count, but more importantly, I know the company recently swapped a couple of the SKUs from 2 products and made a change in there. Can you give us the update on how that's going?
Yeah, so Walgreens has been a challenge. We've been in there for now coming up on 3 years. In May, I think it'll be 3 years. In the first 2 years, we were able to put product on shelf. We had to invest in security and safety boxes and a whole bunch of things, but we were never allowed to advertise in Walgreens or outside of Walgreens to go to Walgreens. So it's been a challenge, and it was a way to test the market. Are people looking for CBD products? 2, is if they're looking for CBD products, are they buying your product? So after the initial market analysis, we worked with Walgreens, and we elected to take our premium extra strength product off the shelf and swap it out for a product set that was price point sensitive, but I got it up to a therapeutic value and affordable, both where our margins would stay intact. So we've swapped out for what we call the green line internally and put we call regular strength balm and a regular strength cream that each have 400 milligrams of CBD in addition to the other ingredients. Right. So as soon as we put that on shelf, we saw incremental increases in volume. Wow. Now we're exceeding over 500 units per SKU per week across that store platform. So this is tremendously. This is almost 150% increase over what we saw before on our best weeks. And in conjunction with that, sales have skyrocketed. So we recently got numbers from one of the major Nielsen rating type companies out there that tracks all things retail, and it showed in the Walgreens set that we are the top performing 2 SKUs, and not by a small margin, but by I think it's over 30% in revenue and in units sold. So we're very excited about that. Yeah. Our feeling is coming into the end of the year as compliance is starting to loosen up and retailers are really starting to understand how compliance works and where they sit as a company and where the risk is, we're going to see major store expansion, both in the Walgreens and other food, drug, and mass retail stores. So if this is any indication, we're going to see an incremental growth curve get back to where we thought it was going to be going into COVID. We thought we would be at 20,000 stores, 30,000 stores by the end of 2020, early 2021, and COVID just killed it. We had no ability to grow the company through that ramp up.
I see. I understand. And, actually, we had in our ambassador group some people posting pictures from their local Walgreens where they picked up the product. And what was really interesting to me is, and they didn't do this purposely, but you could see a picture of our product and the price point, and right next to it, the competitors. And what was obvious, so we're at the same price point or even lower, but with a higher, as you pointed out, a higher amount of CBD content and so it's a higher quality product at the better price point. So to me it's a no-brainer that it's doing well, of course. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Let's, if we can, move on to that. And by the way, before we mention it, I got a very nice card, or I saw something come up from Blesswell about the holidays and getting ready for the season, which is really nice. Seems that there's a lot happening there. I understand Chicago went well, and we're doing another pop-up for Blesswell in Chicago. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a continuation. We had to reformat it because the original launch and the pop-up in Chicago was free everything. Come and have a blast, come and have a party, get a spa treatment, check out the product for free. And we had some sales of product in that format. Now we took a recess, we backed up, we reformulated. We still have Jim Beam sponsoring cocktails there. We're still sitting in the Kimpton Hotel, but we're actually offering a price incentive for them to they'll get a free treatment if they buy $25 of product or more while they're in the store. So it'll help balance it out, but it'll continue that momentum that we did build right there in Chicago. And we're also in the middle of gift season. So the holidays are coming up. In fact, it's DJ Khaled's birthday today. So shout out to him and happy birthday. But
All right.
the Blesswell platform is designed to sell through the product, get as many people using as can. We're going to drive some more exciting events into that platform, and hopefully that's going to convert well, as we also are expanding the barbershop set. That's what this is all about. Showing how this product works in the barbershop and then goes home to a guy like you that's grooming up and wanting to look good and feel fresh and rejuvenate the skin.
All right. So DJ Khaled, bless well, or time will tell. So
that's right.
Happy birthday to him. I think we could probably wrap everything up, just keeping it short. Oh, I want to mention Jamaica. I saw a comment once from somebody who thought our Jamaica announcement was really just about the store, which is great, in the tourism and what's happening down there. But can you explain how the licenses and what's happening in Jamaica really allows Endexx to be a major, one day, potentially a major player in the cannabis exports internationally?
Yeah, so in order to even do business there, you have to file for your licenses. It took 3 years to get a license in Jamaica. So we finally got that license. We already had the store built. We built it a year and a half ago ahead of the license, and we were unable to transact business. So once we finally get the license, it's great. Now the market has changed in Jamaica. More farmers came in, there's more supply available. So at this point, it's not necessarily necessary for us to be a cultivator or grower of our own product. Instead, we have signed 4 or 5 different tripart agreements. So we've picked the top farmers with the top strains and the top quality control systems in place to bring into our store to sell. Our target as a global distributor is Jamaica is taking the necessary steps from a government standpoint to make it available to export this Jamaican ganja to the world. So while they're doing that, that puts us in a unique opportunity. We're a frontline retail sales and wholesaler to the market. And through our license, we can participate in global distribution. So as we align ourselves with the best of the farms, they're all looking for distribution too. So as a professional distributor and product developer, we can now position ourselves to go into Israel, into Portugal, into Malta, any of the countries out there that are now taking imports from foreign entities will start aligning with to get into that global piece. So that's where it is, and it is going to be specific to cannabis. Okay. Jamaica has ganja. That's where it came from. So, one of the core places where it came from. So the brand itself being from Jamaica, we think is going to resonate very well throughout the global markets.
All right. Well, there you go, everyone. You heard it right here. It is a international cannabis opportunity for the company. Todd, just to summarize everything, I think one of the things that really you've talked about all year long, you've really been talking about not only the changes in the industry, you've been educating everybody about the laws, the changes there in the industry, and how that's really fit in with the company, and how everything sort of was going to compress before the end of the year. Can you tell us really summarize where that's all come to now.
Sure. So if you remember back in August, I think we had a touch base meeting and I updated you into something really unique and very sneaky, I thought, that happened at the political level, is they separated what's called the MORE Act from the Safe Banking Act. They had them lumped together as two things that had to live and coincide together. In August, they stripped away the Safe Banking Act that's failed to get through to law for the last 3 years. It's been up for the Congress votes yes, Senate says no, never makes it through. But this year, they snuck the Safe Banking Act into the defense bill. They never don't vote for the defense bill. That's going through. So if you go to congressional calendar events, December 3rd is the slated date for the review and signing of the defense bill. Doesn't mean it'll be on December 3rd, but that's what it's publicly disclosed as. So you look at every year when things happen, when they're signing off on bills for the budget next year, that window is typically between December 1st and December 15th or so everybody can go home for the holidays and not have to work during the holidays. So we're anticipating right now this compressed event, the Safe Banking Act is the key for success in the U.S. market. The major investment banks, the major banking facilities, the major funders that could be supporting the cannabis industry have not been able to participate. This is 90% of the U.S. 90% of the capital in the world comes in through the U.S. to participate in things. So when you start seeing Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch suddenly in the marijuana industry or the cannabis industry, that's because of the Safe Banking Act. And that critical supply of funding is what's going to grow this industry. It's what's going to take it to the next level and make it a viable industry going forward for the next 10 to 20 years without speculation. Right now, we're still speculating that the industry is doing well. Even though it's a couple $1 billion industry, we're speculating still at this point. Banking comes live and everybody in this space, the whole cannabis industry takes off again as a unit. Yeah. Now, the companies that have done well, survived and thrived during this COVID environment, those will be the companies that really do accelerate and emerge as leaders. We've had a lot of our competitors go out of business. A lot of our competitors were taken off shelf. A lot of our competitors just failed to execute on their business plans. It was no small chore for us either, but we executed conservatively and we maintained our presence. And because of that, we're now expanding into mass retail like we thought we were going to do without 15 other companies vying for the same spot. So this real estate play that we've been going at is that, after that 2.5 inches per SKU of real estate getting slotted in there is starting to pay off. And that's where the Banking Act, we believe, and I believe personally, from my own speculative standpoint, is that when banking comes in, the first banking comes in, you'll see a few IPOs go. You'll see mass appreciation in the market for those that participate in the market. Then you start seeing consolidation. So you start seeing other industries that want to be in the cannabis space start to acquire companies. They start to look for the best of breed, the companies that have positioned themselves properly, the ones with the best brands, and they start getting gobbled up. So for the next 2 to 5 years, this whole industry in the US is going to become a huge industry with huge capital investment, huge speculation, big roll-ups, big consolidations, and in the end, you end up with 10 to 30 companies total that control the whole cannabis industry. And CBD and hemp are part of that industry where we lie. So we've been positioning for that for the last 5 years. And for us, this is our time to shine. That's why it was important to go out and see the investors again, to see the institutions, to let them know we've got our Form 10. We're a fully reporting company with the SEC. We are positioned in 2022 to be a NASDAQ listed company. We have all of our regulatory requirements and our audit requirements to raise capital at traditional investment banking fees and cost of money. So this is it for us. We're executing now, and the timing couldn't be any better. So I'm starting to get aggressive about that. I had mentioned to Brad earlier, one of the things that I picked up in these conferences is we're finally, for the first time, going to engage a professional IR firm, an investor relations company. So you have to think about it the same way you think about a brand or a product line. You have to brand your company. You have to brand to Wall Street and to the street buyers out there your company. I've never done that before. This whole organic growth of us and our 10,000 shareholders has come from word of mouth and people participating in cannabis industry.
Right.
We have hired a major firm, the biggest firm in the country, that does just this. They market into 9 million investors on a daily basis. They manage everything from top down on a compliance standpoint. They're publicly traded on the NASDAQ, and they set the new standard for it. And my principal goal for us as a company is to grow us from 10,000 shareholders to 30,000, 100,000, and beyond shareholders. As we do that, that competition competing for the same price stock ends up sucking up the supply, so you have a supply-demand curve. This is how public companies grow. As your company grows shareholder base, so does your stock and your ability to execute and make acquisitions and fund the company with greater liquidity. So that's what this has all been. And it's really been hard sitting on my heels, waiting for this one opportunity to finally open up where it makes sense to invest in investor relations, and take care of our shareholders and our company as we push forward into the market going into 2022.
Excellent. Well, that's a lot and very exciting. Even the bird agrees that it's exciting that you have back there. So, Todd, we really appreciate you updating us on everything. There's a lot going on with the company right now. It sounds like we're really ready for the next level. So that's great. Shareholders, I want to remind you out there that that you can go to Endexx, endexx.com at any time and go to the investor section, and you can see all these live videos, all the press releases, and all the updates from the company. It's a very interactive website. It follows Todd around whenever possible for these presentations so that you can see him live, whether it be at the trade show or at a financial conference. Also want to mention the ambassador group. Thank you, all the ambassadors out there. That was really founded by shareholders like myself in the company. I'm not an employee of the company, as a shareholder myself in the company. We were really excited to set something up as a positive environment where we could really talk to each other about the stock, get company announcements, and we hope you guys are enjoying that and can find that on Facebook as well. Todd, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I would just add this. It's time. I don't make the phone calls very often, but I've been calling a lot of our long-term investors and letting them know, giving them this update, giving the narrative, talking about the struggles and the things that we had to overcome in 2020, 2021, and how we've positioned ourselves to be very explosive and successful 2022 and beyond. So for all of you, I do appreciate the longevity, the commitment to the company, the ambassador program where people are willing to share ideas, whether they're critical or they seem fluffy. But you put all that together and you've invested into a company that has taken the conservative approach to building high quality, high therapeutic products, never put a bad product on the shelf, and get into the right real estate, not just any real estate. So as we've done that for you, we all will succeed, and we look forward moving forward with everybody. And I look forward to our next update, because there's going to be a lot of news coming out in the month of December. So hang on, here we go.
We're going to be looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Todd. We appreciate your time today, and thank you, shareholders of Endexx, EDXC. Endexx is traded on the OTC markets. Thank you for joining us today.